close to home here in Los Angeles. I mentioned consumer fraud. We prosecute or civilly go after a whole array of consumer fraud. You saw last week, for example, this thing called shoulder surfing, which is actually a crime, where people come up to you behind you on the ATM and try to find your PIN. So by the time you have left, they hope that you have not completely logged off, and then they come in and they take your money. We did a crime alert about that. We do this kind of stuff. But we also go civilly against perpetrators of immigration fraud or other consumer issues. I mention this because you may have consumer problems that you weren't sure our office could tackle. Assume our office can tackle a wide array of consumer problems and protect you. Now, let me pause, because there's so much that we do, but a lot of it for you is going to be a little ethereal because it's citywide. It may not affect you in particular. And I want to be sure to use my scarce time here to address issues that I know you care about. And some of those issues are issues that when I was your city councilman I could tackle that I can't tackle now. Traffic is a good example of that. But there are things, mail theft. I don't want to turn to you as though you are the perpetrators of mail theft. Let's assume that you are here to help us regarding mail theft. And I know you're going to hear from other experts tonight, but I just want you to know, since I know that this is an issue for many of you, that if there is an arrest, an investigation that gives rise to facts where we can prosecute, we prosecute mail theft. There is a specific statute that prohibits mail theft, but it's also, and often in many cases, identity theft that's involved too. We've prosecuted about 30 such cases in my office since I've been in office, and some of them are here in the Hollywood Hills. So just know that. Bottom line, we're here, we can help. Other kinds of issues that are very specific to this territory here. When I was in office, and it continues now, occasionally there are party houses. Right? You know, and in the canyons, right, when there are party houses, everybody can hear it. But more than the noise issues, which are just themselves disruptive, there are public safety issues often because of parking issues, and right, and emergency vehicles can't get through and that kind of stuff. That's one of Jackie's specialties. We have grappled with party house issues. Jackie's prosecuted like 18 party houses, I think, 20. Now it's 20. By the way, I have background music here too. This is good. But in terms of the party house issue, I know that this is not a trivial thing. And I want you to know that our office is on the case. Other kinds of issues. Our friends dealing with the ACE program are here, this administrative citation program, where formerly these matters had to go to court and took forever. Many of them are kind of small potatoes things unless it's happening to you. You know, everything from leaf blowers to dogs defecating on sidewalks and a lot of stuff in between. There are fines associated with this, and we've been handling thousands of these in this new program designed to make it easier for enforcement to happen. Let me do this for a moment. I want to mention one or two more issues, pause. I have about 20 more minutes thereafter, and I'm happy, even though I know you have experts here to address individual questions, to answer any question you have on any issue of any kind. Let me mention one or two more specific things to the hills and then to the canyon, and then we can talk about other stuff. So, land use issues often come up in Laurel Canyon. They came up when I was working for you 20 years ago. They came up every week. Our office has a role in the city on land use. We can, when someone is violating the law, we can and occasionally do prosecute those matters. There's a very prominent matter in Bel Air, for example, right now. Our office is prosecuting a guy who is building an enormous house. Yes, right. We know names here. Yeah, that's correct. But our office also has this role of working with the planning department in the city and representing the city. And that makes things complicated. Sometimes people say to me, how come you let the city do X? So you understand, our office advises the council and the planning department, but we are not the decision makers, and then we represent them when they made decisions. If you have land use issues, we can talk about those. There are a couple on the hillsides of which I'm aware, not too far from here. Citywide issue that some of you might care about, that's homelessness. So let me just mention a word or two about this, because we all live in this city. I've been mentioning issues that are very local as well as broader ones for a reason, because we may live in this neighborhood, but we also have broader issues and concerns too. So again, I used to run a poverty law firm. I used to represent homeless people and go to homeless shelters to help them. Now I'm the city attorney. Here's what I think. I'm always very direct. The city has abdicated responsibility. So has the state, so has the federal government for years and years on this issue. It was really easy for representatives to say, that's a Skid Row problem. I don't represent Skid Row. That's a Venice Beach problem. Not my thing. That cannot happen anymore. In part because in almost every part of Los Angeles, there are homeless people now. And so no one can afford to turn away. So I'm hoping that you agree with me. This is an issue where we have to be in this together. Now, my office, I used to be in charge of the budget for the city council back in the late 1990s. I don't have that authority anymore. I'm the city attorney. So I am not the one who's going to say the city should spend X amount of money on grappling with issues of homelessness. But I will tell you, anyway, I did give the council a memo about 9 months ago where I laid out some options of things the city council could do to create a revenue stream. There's been some discussion of taking money from the reserve in the city, for example. You have reserves at home, your savings accounts. Those are for one time it matters. This issue is not a one-time issue. We need to have a sustained effort to lift people out of homelessness. One example in my office, we did something unusual. You know, the city is a different jurisdiction than the county of Los Angeles, two different governance bodies. We went to the county in my office and said, we'll take over your homeless court program. And they gave us the grant, so we're doing it now. Here's what we do. We have what's called a homeless citation clinic program. It's pretty straightforward. And we did this not too far from here the other day. We go to the neighborhood and do some community organizing, letting homeless people know that we're coming to help them. Then, on the day they come, picture a room like this size, a gymnasium, be a row of tables and lots of people, a couple hundred people lining up outside. First row of tables are social workers, others conducting intake. What are your problems? Next row of people, volunteers from my office who are attorneys with cell phones and computers. Here's their job. We say to the homeless person, if you have outstanding citations or fines, if you have warrants, the kinds of things that are going to prevent you from getting a job or a place to live or basic services, we have a relationship with the court system we've created. We will get rid of them, erasing those impediments. But there's that next row of people behind us. You have to take advantage of their services to get that to happen. And we assemble housing providers and job training experts and mental health professionals and others. So the idea basically is, if a homeless person comes in and has the outstanding fines and citations and stuff, they do community service and they take advantage of the service we have brought, and we'll get rid of these impediments to getting housed and getting jobs. It's a very cool program. Others from other jurisdictions have asked us about how to replicate this program. Some of David's colleagues have asked us how we can do more of this. But here's the deal. We hope to help a couple thousand people a year with this program from Lancaster to Long Beach and throughout Los Angeles City. But that is not 20,000 people. We still have a huge road to hope. And I have some ideas about what we need to do about that we can belabor, we can go into in detail if you'd like. But I have a sense of urgency about this. And I hope that you share that sense of urgency. Let me pause